So I was trying to figure out, I wanted to make one more video. I was out of ideas, but I wanted to make one more just because I had a number in my head of how many videos I wanted to make this week. And so trying to figure out, just looking around PFF grades, seeing if I found anything interesting that happened in week 2 of the preseason. And I certainly did. This is what I found. This is the New Orleans Saints defensive players PFF grades from week 2 of the preseason against the Chargers. These were the highest graded players, and you see with a bullet, with a huge jump above the number 2 player, a guy named Peyton Turner, who you might remember as a first-round pick from 2 years ago by the New Orleans Saints. It was a criticized pick at the time. It was a late first-round pick, but he got hurt pretty early on into his rookie year, so we haven't seen much from him. But I mean, a 93.4 grade, I mean, this is, there are players who play, 10-year careers in the NFL and never have a game that highly graded. Granted, this is preseason, but it still piqued my interest enough to say, okay, let's watch some film of him and say, how did he actually play in this game? Well, right off the bat, this play, the first third down you would see, which, obviously third downs are kind of where edge rushers make their money for 2 reasons. One, there's a much higher likelihood that it's going to be a passing play, so because of that, you can kind of just do a pure pass rush. You don't have to be worried about the run as much. But also, on a third down, the quarterback might be more likely to hold on to the ball for a little bit longer because they're not just going to take a check down for 2 yards on a play where they have to get 6 yards, meaning you get a little bit of extra time to potentially get to the quarterback. So let's see how Peyton Turner does on this one. Well, right off the bat, he's going to use his size, which, that's what the Saints love with defensive linemen. They love, big, strong guys, right? And for Turner, that's kind of why they drafted him, is they feel like they can use his strength, and he can use his strength to really help them out. So, in a pretty good position to try and just pull off a bull rush right here. But again, how is it going to work out? Does he have the ability to do this? I mean, offensive lineman appears to be in pretty good shape here to defend this as well. Kind of both guys are where they want to be. It just comes down to who's stronger. And watch what Peyton Turner does. I mean, that is just, I don't want to say domination, but, the ball did get thrown right before he was able to get there, although that's, again, there's an element of luck that comes into that. But it was a really well-done play by Peyton Turner. And these are the kind of things that I think get you excited if you're a Saints fan. Again, he's going up against Austin Pleasance on that play, who isn't exactly known for being a superstar. He was an undrafted free agent in 2020, 287 snaps over the course of his career, although has, again, if you're a PFF man, he's graded out solidly in that small sample size, so maybe not a complete scrub out there either, but, Peyton Turner kind of made him look like one just because of that good play. This next one was Turner's best play. This was his highlight. This is the one that if you're a Saints fan, you probably shared on Twitter or whatever. Going up one-on-one against, once again, the left tackle, Pleasance on this play. And watch what he's going to do. So right off the bat, kind of faking as though maybe he's going to just go for a bull rush again or try to go for an outside move, which are usually what you would do as an edge rusher. But here's the thing about Peyton Turner, and here's what I think the Saints like about Peyton Turner, is he's not just someone who is a one-trick pony. He's not just someone who has to use his power to succeed. He can do other things, like use his athleticism, which is what he's going to show off here. Watch him sidestep to the inside, gets through basically cleanly, and even knocks the football out, and it's Brian Bresee, the first-round pick from this year, that ends up falling on the football. So a couple of good young defensive linemen, hopefully good young defensive linemen, being able to contribute here for New Orleans. And this is what you're hoping to see out of Peyton Turner, is that being a guy who can do these kind of things. He can consistently make sure that he can, generate pressure and do it in several different ways. He doesn't have to just win in one specific way, which is what he's showing flashes of. And honestly, he had, pretty good advanced stats in his small sample size in his first year as well. So it's, maybe a little surprising. It's not stunning. Now let's go over to this play where there's going to, at a certain point, be multiple offensive linemen who are going to be blocking Turner, but it's worth mentioning the whole situation. It's not just who's blocking Turner. So this is going to be a pretty heavy blitz by New Orleans. It appears to be a cover zero blitz, in fact. So they're going all out. Everyone's rushing the passer. And what that means is that if you're a defensive lineman, obviously it'd be ideal if you could just, win your matchup and get to the quarterback quickly. However, you see Turner, I mean, the tight end kind of goes, to try to block him, but it's not going well enough to the point where the left tackle also now goes over and tries to, help out and make sure that they're blocking Peyton Turner. But keep in mind, this is a heavy blitz. that defensive back is running through, and ideally, at least on this side of the field, there would be someone to block everyone here for the Chargers. But because Peyton Turner is taking up 2 guys, this now means that there's no one to block 24. As you see, 24 gets a straight shot to the quarterback and gets a quarterback hit there. Now, the ball still gets thrown, a little underthrown, which helped out the pass interference there. But, as a whole, that is a very impressive play by Turner, just to kind of show, well, how people have to pay attention to him, really. Even something like this, which is a running play, what happens here, this is, it's an interesting play, and it happens so quick that, I gotta just explain what happens before I show it. You're gonna have a tight end who's going to block Peyton Turner. That's, the way this play is supposed to work. He blocks him at the line, and then you have other offensive linemen kind of pulling over in that direction, as it is going to be a run towards the top of the screen. But watch Turner just blow by the tight end, and he ends up taking up an offensive lineman who wasn't supposed to block Turner. He was supposed to block somebody else, but then he had to block Turner because, there's a guy right there, got to do something else. So definitely Turner ended up really blowing up that play. It still somehow went for 6 yards. That's football. Weird things happen. In good recovery by the Chargers. Got to give them credit in their blocking. But, for me, this is a very good play by Peyton Turner to kind of show how he can be, at times, unblockable for opponents. Going over here, as for his losses, there obviously were some losses. I mean, listen, as an edge rusher, you're not going to win every single snap. That's just not how, the best edge rushers, like TJ Watt, loses the majority of snaps. Like Myles Garrett loses the majority of snaps. That's the life of an edge rusher is, you lose the majority of the snaps, but when you win, it can be a pretty significant positive impact for your team. So, okay, this is an example of him losing. It's a one-on-one block. As you see, he's going to kind of try to get for an outside move, but, isn't really able to do too much. Also, eventually tried a spin move. He's been trying that spin move a ton. I've noticed that about him. He likes to try a spin move. I've yet to see it work. It's awesome when it does, but he just, he can't get that consistently. And I don't know if he has to do that. I mean, in this scenario, why not? What else are you going to do? But I don't know if that's a move he has to try and pull off too much. But as a whole, his other moves are working pretty well. So, again, it is worth mentioning, lower level of competition. What does this make? What do we make of this from someone like Turner? We just don't know. We have to wait and see. It is, I think it's good that his advanced stats in the small sample size at the NFL level have been good. I think it's good that he had a very good preseason game. All that stuff is a good thing, not a bad thing. And, definitely could be, we could look back at this and say, oh yeah, those were the signs that, should have told us early on that he's going to be a star player. That being said, plenty of first-round picks have good preseasons and end up being nothing, right? That also is something that happens. So we have to wait and see. That, again, kind of goes without saying. Only so much you can learn from a preseason evaluation, but there are some things you can learn from a preseason evaluation. So, yeah, interesting stuff with Peyton Turner. What do you think of his performance so far? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Turner? Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.